Hey everyone, welcome to Camppatton Family Compound. Tonight is the Monday night Fireside chat, and tonight's topic is: are they ready? Are your tools ready to be used in the garden? All right, so hop over here. Boom, there I am. Hey, how's everybody doing? Let me switch up here and see what the comments are looking like so I can see who all's here. And all right, so first one in was CR, Creative Redundancy from North of the Border. How you doing, my friend? And then Jay came in, and then it went downhill from right there. These two are firing back and forth with the puns about wood handles. Wouldn't it be nice to have a good hand? You know, it's yes, bad. Just read their comments. It's funny. Then Lewis came in, and then Corsair said hi. He's at a baseball game, probably for one of his kids, I would believe, or he got the whole family out to a baseball game. And let's see, Teresa at Stringfield Ridge Farm is here. I'm not sure if Lee is sitting there next to her or not. And we got Alicia is here. Hey, Alicia. Rachel Knight is here. And Katie is here. And Ginger Ninja is here. All righty. All right. So just on the quick side, why other news, why people are coming in. Right now, we're under a high wind warning, and I know it. We've been getting gusts upwards of 50 miles an hour. And inside the house here, when the house gets hit by a hard, or like popping, like I'm driving up over the grapevine or something, you know, it's just like, and sure enough, with it's hard enough to eat, you know, it even down pressures the smoke back into the house again, because on the roof peak like this, the wind's coming this way here. Most of the vents from the bathrooms are on that side, so it goes over, creates a vacuum out of the vents, so it helps pulls the air back into. Oh, it's a pain in the butt. Anyways, let's see what we've got here right now. Did we get up to? No, we got to 48. It was high was supposed to be 53. Never got up to 53 today. And we have a little sprinkling going on right now. We have a chance of, what does it say here? Oh, they took out the chance of snow tonight. Cool. Temperature's only getting down to 31 degrees tonight. But then they have tomorrow or later on tonight, blowing dust tomorrow. So, yeah. So we got some, some nasty winds tonight and tomorrow going on here. And yeah, that's right. Alicia is north of the border too. So we got Canada well supported in here. And Katie is Alicia's daughter. Hey, so we got 3 from north of the border here. Woo! Oh, CR got it to 50? Wow. Woo. No, Jay, no blizzard down here in Idaho tonight. We just got some light sprinkling of misting rain. It's not much. I mean, it's barely enough to get the sidewalk wet. Let's see here. All right, and CR, yes, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about tonight. And a little bit more than what you're thinking about, too. More than just these tools as well. Got some other stuff to talk about. And I'm going to get a couple more minutes for people to get in here. Just checking to see how many in here. We got 10 watching, 7 thumbs up. So I think we got a few lurkers. Lurkers are fine. You can lurk all you want. I appreciate the watch time, and hopefully you get something out of it and some information that you'll be able to share with your friends and use yourself as well. All righty. Yeah. For those of you that don't know it, the hour before I come on is Kathy at North Star Prepsteader, and she was talking about some tools as well and going over some basic stuff on some stuff about shovels and stuff like that. And I'm going to take it a step further on some other tools and stuff that and some reasons that people usually don't understand about when it comes to taking care of tools. So let's see here. CR, you're pushing it on that one. I can't wait to seed what Gil has in the stream. And I bet Teresa takes well care of that tool. All right, so let me go ahead and start off with some simple things here. Simple tool. Ooh, the green on the handle here is blending in with the green screen. So this tool here, people abuse this tool like you wouldn't believe. This is my daughter's version of it. Yeah, she started bending. She was asking me if I could straighten it. I told her, you don't want me to straighten it because if you have a tool like this and it's been bent, bending the metal weakens it a little bit. Bending it back weakens it even more. So unless I was to put it in a hot fire and get it, glowing nice orange and doing all that stuff on it, it's just that, it kind of tells her, hey, if you're bending it, digging in the soil, you need to add some water to the soil beforehand. But this was my daughter's. So I went out there and got it. Now, one of the things to notice on these, if I can get up here close enough here, you see these points. Well, these aren't really sharp points. They're kind of dull. But hey, you poke on there. Yeah, I could. If I pushed hard enough, I would bleed from it. This one here is getting well rounded and worn out. It needs to be have a file taken to it to clean it up. The reason why they have a nice point is so it enters into the soil easier, and it also has a bevel. And I froze. Has a beveled angle on it as well, so that it as it cuts in, it's not just a square block. It's not a square V point coming in. It's turned at an canter angle, so it cuts in a little bit easier. So this is one of the tools I want to just start out here showing you taken care of. People do. Some people abuse them. I'm not sure if my daughter did this or her husband. I'm thinking the latter. Okay, let me set these down here. And I left the other ones in the other room. So the other one I was going to bring in was similar to this one right here, the 3-prong one. It as well on the prongs it's a not a round tip or a like a pencil type tip. It's chiseled on it, and when you're digging in for a cultivator and you're digging it in, you got to make sure that they will get worn down over time. So it's one of those ones you got to put the bevel back on it, not actually sharpening it, but you're putting the bevel back on it. So it has somewhat of a point for digging in and able to do the job better. No, Jay, it wasn't a granite quarry. You just have to, the soil around here, that if it starts to dry out, it almost is like concrete. So I've been working on breaking it up and adding stuff to it to soften it up. But this was theirs for they were over there, and they were working on it without watering it enough. Okay. Speaking of watering, timers. All right. So I'm going to talk about several different types of timers here right now. This is a battery powered one. The battery pack is pulled part way out. I pull that out as soon as I take it down so the batteries don't drain, because it would stay running all year round. And so that way it's not, there's not a drain on the batteries. One of the things I check before I put it back in is to make sure that this screen is clean. And I try to get these type of screens with a washer on it for all my hoses. That way anything gets in there, it catches it on the next stop down. That way if the thing starts malfunctioning, I know I can just start pulling hoses apart and see where whatever bugs and stuff have crawled in there and get them out before it plugs it up. So this is kind of it's got some hard water buildup on it because it was catching the mist from the sprinklers and stuff. So this is one of the types you check on if you're using this for your watering system for your garden or your lawn, to make sure it's working properly. Now, the next one I have here, I'll set that down there, is a mechanical one. And this one got a lot of water on it. This is all hard water stains. I cleaned a lot of it off. So also has a screen on the inside. Both of these, what you want to do is weeks before you actually are putting them to use, test them out, run it for a time cycle on it, make sure the timer's still working right, make sure the valve is opening and closing. Same thing with this. You can do this. This is the easy one. You give it a little turn. Not sure if you can hear the ticking on it there, but yeah, it's a little mechanical ticker timer, and it will count down. So you make sure it's ticking and stuff, and then you can make sure time the water to make sure it's comparatively on time with what it says on the top. That's something else you need to do. All right, and if you have some of these, and I got a lot of these around, you want to make sure everything's working, they're opening and closing properly, so you don't wind up with a problem. We get everything all put together, you go to turn it on, it's like you can't turn it on or off. So you need to check this out as well too, these tools. Okay, a couple other things here before I get into the nitty-gritty tools that everybody uses. Sometimes you got to do a little spring pruning. Some people use a reciprocating saw. If you're using an older blade, make sure you've cleaned that blade with get it, wash it off first, get it clean, and then also clean it with alcohol, because if you use this on a previous plant that possibly was diseased last fall, whatever fungus or whatever was on there could be in these teeth, and you go to cut something else, you're now transferring that into the new one. So you want to make sure those are clean. Same thing with the bow saw right up here. Any type of saw, you want to make sure you clean them. The hatchets, you want to make sure you clean them so you're not transferring stuff from one plant to another. And one of the things about that, I was going to bring in the loppers, but I think everybody knows what the big pruning loppers are. not these type shears here, but the bypass loppers for cutting branches. Some plants are poisonous to other plants, and some are poisonous to people. One of the plants we deal with in California is our neighbor's previous owner of the house had put in some oleanders. I hate oleanders because the leaves are poisonous to people, and especially kids. And then if you prune them, the dripping sap is poisonous as well. And your whatever you pruned it with, whether it's a pruning pole, loppers, or saw, whatever, those cutting surfaces need to be cleaned immediately with rubbing alcohol to remove all of that poisonous sap off of them. Hey, Sweet Pea Sid's Inspirations. And there's a great shout out right now. Sweet Peas. If you're not subscribed to her, check her out. Today she was actually the last couple of days she's been doing little videos on like alpaca wool and stuff. Today she was using, I forgot the type boards they're called, the cards thing with the little things on it to rake the wool and get it directional and stuff like that. She had a video showing how to do that today. And so if you want to learn about making spinning yarn, thread, whatever, all that stuff, check her out. All right. Diamond painting of diamond painting. Cool, Katie. That's cool. All right. These nice little tools here. These things are like a knife. You need to take good care of them. You don't want to use these on stuff bigger than what it's supposed to be used for, because if you do, you'll tweak the blade. You will tweak the blade here, and then it's not going to. You go to cut it, you'll feel it drag like someone's cut something too thick with scissors, and it tweaks the anvil part of the scissor and stuff, and it just is out of alignment, and it just kind of drags. So you want to make sure these stay in the right angle. Also, This one here has multiple cutting surfaces. It has the cutting surface on the inside. You can see how this is kind of, get up here, how that's kind of beveled there. And let's turn the other side around. See, it's got the beveled cutting edges there. So it cuts there, but this here is a knife. That's a knife edge, and it's sharp. This is a serrated knife, and it's sharp as well. So, yeah. So this one here has cutting on both sides. So this one here, when it's like this, you can either cut with this side, or you can cut, you need to saw on something, you can cut on that side with it. This is one of the ones that I really clean constantly, because I use this one a lot on the tomatoes. And if you saw some of my videos earlier, the two of the tomatoes of the 3 tomatoes I planted had some sort of blight on it. Same soil, because it came out of the same bag, mixed with from the same containers and stuff to mix them up for the ones I did. 2 of them got blight, and the third one's doing great. I mean, it's 19 inches tall, and so it's doing great. But like when I was trying to prune off the blight and stuff, trying to keep it, I was cleaning these every time with rubbing alcohol to sanitize it, so that when I had pruned on the good plant, I'm not transferring blight to the good plant. So any of your cutting tools or anything like that, if you're working on plants that have blight or any type of disease, clean the tools every time so you don't accidentally transfer it, because it can be this type, it can be this type, that type there, the axe, I forget what type of axe that's called. Whatever it is, you want to keep the tools clean. If you're working with any type of diseased plant, trying to save it. One of the big ones was when we were doing for the pruners and loppers and stuff, was the apricot trees and the peach trees. Because when we're having to trim off some of the diseased branches when it's got peach leaf curl or any of those other, or the boar shot stuff. The boar shot stuff. I'm not exactly sure what that's called. I can't remember what that's called. And thank you, Jay, the bearded axe. Thank you. That's what this one right there by my thumb is. And yeah, so we were, with all the trees we had back in the 60s, if we weren't careful in doing that, it would get transferred from one tree to another. And my uncle came over one time to do the pruning, help my grandmother, and he just went from one tree to the next tree. We all went ballistic on him. It's like, hey, you got disease stuff here. You need to clean that tool before it goes over here. Oh, no, it's not going to do it. The next week, the other plant started showing the disease. So, yeah, keep the tools clean when you're working on diseased stuff. Cool. I'm going to put that up there. Yeah. So, yeah, so you recycle your motor oil and make an abrasion cleaner for it. All right, so that takes care of that one. So I covered all the tools I have in here with me right now. So, normal tools, shovels. In the fall, it's a little late, isn't it? We're talking about the fall. In the fall is the time to wash and clean your shovels, your hose, your rakes, your post hole diggers, your pry bars, everything you've been using in the all summer long. That's okay, Jay. My uncle passed away 2 years ago at 87. Yeah, he hadn't been doing any garden work for the last 30 years. His son, who owns a landscaping company, learned, because he was one of the ones yelling at his dad for doing that. Hey, nature girl, how's it going? So all the hand tools. Let me just. So all these type of hand tools up here that you see over here, needs to be cleaned and, washed, cleaned, and then oiled in the fall. So when you put them away, they don't rust anymore. Because if you leave dirt on them, the dirt will absorb moisture out of the air and cause rust to do underneath. So, yeah, you want to take care of the business end, and for the handles, you need to get some good oils for the handles to treat them so that they don't dry out too much and get all splintery on you. Now, some of the ones, like if you look at upper left-hand corner here, that cultivator with the little wheels that turn as you run it back and forth, some 3-in-1 oil inside of the where the axle shaft where it spins on to lubricate that, to help that work too. Same thing like on your postal diggers where it hinges and it moves for it, the 2 pins on each side. Keep those oiled as well. Same thing with all your loppers, anything else that's moving, including, pull this back up here, including like the, hang on, including these things here. A drop of oil on the blade between in an angle so that you drop it like this, so it runs down against it and have to go between, and then you work it and then get the oil in on it so that it lasts longer. And go back to this one here. All right, hose. So in the fall, you want to take your hoe, you want to put a new edge on it, get it all nice and sharpened, and then oil it. Shovels around on like a spade tip or a round nose on it. You want to get the edge put back on it because those will get dinged. You're digging, you hit a little small rock, you will ding them. And a sharp shovel digs so much easier than a dull shovel. And so you get it sharpened back up. Furrows again. Then oil the whole head. Let that oil get on the metal to protect it so it doesn't rust during the wintertime. Pruning poles, clean up. They have the saw blade on the end of the pruning pole as well. Clean the saw blade as well as the anvil cutters that it has on, or bypass cutters on it. Yeah, linseed oil. That was the one I wanted to go. So that works good for the wood. Yeah, the roly-pokey cultivator, and a lot of people don't know how to use that. That's not to break up the soil initially. You want to use something else to break up the soil. Once you have the soil broken up, you can go through and break it up more finer with that. But that's really good for taking out certain types of weeds where you've already got your plants going. You just go along. You can just where you want to keep the soil loosened and turn up the young little sprout weeds before they get very big, and just get them broken up and everything so they don't get a chance to get a good toehold on it. Okay, in the middle here, above the H and they, that curved blade, that's another one that has a sharp edge on it. People have used that for different things. We've always used that in landscaping for cutting sod. So if you need to run out a new irrigation line for the sprinklers, that's what we do to cut the sod, lift the sod out of the way, dig the trench, put the dirt back in, put the sod back in. And trust me, if that thing's nice and sharp, it cuts the sod cleanly. If it's not, you can just tear it up. All right, so other tools. Postal diggers. Postal diggers on the edge there take a lot of abuse, and they'll get a little ding and a bent in them and stuff that you got to tap back out. If you have an anvil, it works great for it. Once you get it back to shape, put an edge on it. It doesn't have to be a knife sharp edge, but it needs to be a decent edge like you have on a hoe or a shovel. So a good wedge edge on it, so it digs in easier than a blunt piece trying to dig with it. Hula hose. Hula hose. Other one. Let's see if I got one here just behind me here on its own. Do we have a hula hoe? No, I don't see a hula hoe on this one. The hula hoe, or is also called a strap hoe. A strap hoe comes down off the handle, and the metal comes over, that comes out, down, and around, and the edge is sharp for both ways. It's just like a metal strap going around there. You just go back and forth, and it shears it off. Keeping one of those sharp is really good. Also, when you're doing it, check the whole mechanism on it, because some of them are a little loose in the bracket that's mounted to the handle, and sometimes that gets a little too loose, and you need to give it a little tap with a hammer or get a pair of channel locks that you can really crimp down on it to tighten it back up again. Trying to keep an eye on the side. Ginger. Hoe with tricks. Yeah, so you work on trying to keep that. It has a little bit of flex in it, so that it I don't know why, but it just seems the ones that have just a little bit of flex in them there seem to work better than the ones that are so tight and rigid, because then you got to get your angle just right. Pickaxes. Anybody uses a pickaxe? Bring that back up here. A pickaxe up here. You got a pickaxe, a mattox, and I forget what the other one's called right now. But basically, it has a pick on one end and just a little. I guess it's sort of a double pick. So you got one that's a sharp point pick, and the other one is like a little an inch and a quarter wide, flat little chisel on it, chisel pick. And so those people, those, but then you got your pickaxe has a pick on one side and then has a axe on the other side, and a mattox has the axe, and instead of the pick has a wide like hoe on it. So, and they each have their own uses, and like on the mattox and the pickaxe, the axe portion should be semi-sharp. It shouldn't be rounded. It should be sharpened like a shovel or a hoe, and the same thing with the hoe part of the mattox as well. Square nose shovels. There we go, right there above the A. Square nose shovels. They have a less of a sharp edge on the front of them. You don't sharpen the bottom side. You sharpen the top side down to the bottom side, the angle on it. So it's more of a chisel edge on it. And you try to make sure that thing's kind of square across, because the different ways you can use a square nose shovel, landscapers will show you 20 different ways you never thought of how they use a square nose shovel. Okay, your D-handle tools. These above the E and the T there, how they got a D-handle up there, and you got some down here below. If they have the plastic on them, keep them clean and oil-free. If you got the wooden ones like down below, the linseed oil on it to keep it nice and smooth, and so it doesn't dry out and start to splinter. A wood handle, you don't want to paint it, because a good wood handle that has the oil in it, your hands will slide a little bit on there and not develop blisters as much as on a painted handle for a shovel, a hoe, a rake, whatever. Though, because, that's what the old ones are. Just the old ones are the better way, but they're more expensive to get the old good wooden handles. A lot of them have the metal handles or the fiberglass handles, like these over here on the right, in the yellow, or fiberglass handles. Fiberglass handles, I'm trying to remember what it is. You can put a fiberglass handle, if it's is left out in the sun, will start to deteriorate, and the resin holding the fiberglass together sort of bakes off, and pretty soon you'll have a really rough fiberglass handle that you're actually getting fiber splinters from. So it's I'm trying to remember. I had it here before. It was on the tip of my brain here, and it just flew the coop. There's the material you put on there, it's a special type of petroleum agent you put on there to help protect the handle of fiberglass handles. Get some? Google it. Look it up for yourself. Hey, Mary Beth Smith, how you doing? All right. Rakes. Rakes are another abused tool. There are several different types of rakes. Let me just pull this down for a second, and actually let me do a little search here. Bring this over here. Types of rakes. Okay. All right. So, leaf rake, sometimes called a grass clipping rake. Everybody kind of recognizes this one with the yellow handle here. Your D head rake, because it's kind of shaped like the letter D. With this part here where the solid part of the rake is, that's the back of the D, and it kind of curves out around. These the rods here on this part get bent weird and everything else. People doing weird things with a rake they shouldn't be doing. I've seen these the heads here actually bent, and they're froze, so I've seen them actually bent in a little bit, so it's not straight. These other ones are some really heavy duty ones. These are used on grass as kind of a dethatching rake to pull some of the dead stuff out of it. Over here you got the what's your D head, or your common garden rake. Now this thatch rake here is a little bit different. Actually has like little spikes, knife-like spikes coming off of it to do it. But there's these ones here, you to do it, the square, heavy-duty, monster-looking ones. That's what we've always used from the time I was a little kid. For, of course, so also when I was a little kid, we had push rotary mowers. It has a little blade spinning this way. You just do that. But yeah, so whatever type you have, remember there's just about every different type of rake has specific uses for it. So try not to abuse the rakes, and don't be a primitive Pete and use the rake for the wrong tool. And they are not compaction tools. Although some of these, like the green handled one here, concrete workers will use that one there for working concrete, for dragging the concrete around as well. Then they have the solid rake, which has no tines. It's just a solid, like a long hoe, but the size of a rake, which they also use to rake concrete with. Here we go. Let me go ahead and see if I can do this. Bring this up bigger here. And it was a bad photograph. I can't even see what it's supposed to be saying, so we'll just forget that. Uh, so, all right. Other tools here. Think about. Your potato forks. This green one right there. The potato fork usually has 4 tines. It's not a pitchfork. It's a lot heavier duty. Sometimes they're round, big round ones. Sometimes they're like little blades. They're about like that wide and smooth on the front side and have like a peak shape on the back to give it strength. Those are not shovels. Those are for digging out potatoes and yams and stuff like that. The soil should not be hard compacted for those. I've seen people using those on hard compacted soil when they're turning their soil, and it's like, and they're just bending the heck out of them. And it's like, that's not what that's for. To turn soil, you use a shovel. And also, when you're any type of shoveling, you shovel with your legs, not your back. So when you get it dug in, when you go to pick up, you straighten your back up and you use your legs and arms to shovel with. To break it free from the soil, you rock the shovel, and a lot of times, I can't show it here, but I will put the handle across my thigh just above the knee and use it as a fulcrum to help me get it up, and then I use my arms to do the rest of the shoveling. So if your garden is well turned and soft soil, a potato fork is great for turning the soil, especially if you have a lot of mulch in there, you're working mulch, it's good for that. It's not good for hard virgin soil, as it were. Yeah. I have several different types of pitchforks. And one of these times when my wife comes up here, I'll actually be able to bring the pitchfork up here that I was using as a kid that she loves down there. And it's a 5-tine pitchfork. And it's what we used for cleaning out the cow pen and the horse stables and stuff like that. I also happen to have up here a 4-tine pitchfork and a 9-tine pitchfork. And so let me just go over here so I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's get this over here. Then there's also the short-handled ones as well. The one I have up here are long-handled, but these short ones, I love the short ones, but they didn't have any around here. And you can see they got 2, 3, and 5-tine pitchforks there. Yeah, so they also call this a barter fork, hay fork, heavy duty garden fork, medium duty garden fork. Yeah. All your scoop shovels and stuff. Where's the other ones? Okay. Yeah, I can say it's like this one here, but it's long handled. It's one of the ones I have here. They got a lot of short handles. The short handled D-ring ones, if you don't use your legs, you're going to screw up your back. And as one who has 3 bulging discs and 2 protruding discs, I've learned how to use these. Mine got hurt in an accident. So not from using pitchforks, but since it was hurt, I learned the proper way to use pitchforks and shovels so I didn't aggravate my back injury. Yeah, and actually keep your gloves in the house, because even the garden shed will get a lot more moisture in it, and the moisture gets to the leather gloves. And what was a nice pair of gloves in the fall, when you put them away, in the spring you go to get them, they're hard as a rock. Water is the enemy of leather gloves. Neat's foot oil and saddle soap, the 2 best things you can do for leather gloves. Exactly, CR. Just like snow lifting, use your legs. Keep your back straight so you're not extending over on your back. All right. So talking pitchforks here, and of course there's that type pitchfork, but we're not talking about that type pitchforks. See if I can find it. Oh, yeah, these things here, these cultivator tools. If I click on it, it goes to the website. Yeah, those things are like the little hand ones. You want to make sure they have not a super hard, sharp pencil point on them, but more like a center punch tip on them. And yeah, these are some of the different types of forks and stuff. So these are the potato forks or the heavy duty garden forks. So, and this one here is a pitchfork. So I'm not sure if I can, that one versus that, a little bit thinner. So you don't want to be trying to break up native, virgin soil with one of these things, because all of a sudden they'll wind up bending real easy. And you notice there's not much of the metal part going up on the handle, as opposed to a shovel, which goes up a lot farther, like 3 times as far. So that's why a shovel has that long on it to help support it. Whereas here you got a short distance here, so it puts a lot of stress on the wooden handle right there. So okay, what did CR say this last time? Oh, he really digs it when Diggs is here. Hey, Diggs, how's it going? Yeah, CR is a sharp wit. All right, so any questions about any tools that I haven't covered yet? I think I've pretty much covered all the basic stuff. Oh, one other one. If you're using a mechanical timer, unfortunately, it's got a little yellow tint here on it because it has glowing. It's a kind of a yellow tint here that for glow in the dark on it, so you can see at night what it is. If you got mechanical timers, you're using it for, especially beforehand, like for your grow lights. Before you start using it, test it out and run a time test on it for a day or two to make sure it's working right in case there's something wrong with it. So make sure you test those out as well. Utility knives, pocket knives, whatever type of knife you're going to be using in the garden, make sure it's cleaned well and ready to go. The reason I like some of these for is because, hey, if that blade gets damaged, I can quickly change it out, put a new blade in, and I am ready to go. And I don't have to sharpen it up. And I go to, let's see here. I go to Harbor. It's washed out here. Okay. There we go. I get these, I've had this one for a couple years. I've been going through it on it. But yeah, those are there we go. Put that one up there and say, oh, that's what a tool I forgot to mention. Right there. The sickle, the hand sickle. So yeah, you need to make sure if you properly take care of it, make sure it's got the proper edge on it. Because if you're trying to cut down the grass, weeds, whatever, or wheat, and it's not done right, you destroy. I mean, you're basically just beating the stuff to death trying to get it down. Sprayers, yeah. If you have any sprayers and stuff, hopefully in the fall when you're done using them, you rinse them out because the chemicals in them can clog up the mechanism on it, and if the chemical is slightly corrosive, even though it's got a stainless steel needle valve and spring in there, it can cause those to corrode, and then it's gone and it's crap, and you got to get something else there. What is the one behind you with the teal handle? With the teal handle. Or was that on a different picture? Was that on a different picture? Oh, it was in the other picture. Okay, well, let's take a look at it here. That would have been this picture here, or the other picture. Teal handle. If you're talking about this thing up here, that's a bow saw, and I can't see anything here. I'll go down here, or it might have been that one. This here, that's the bow saw up here. So it's a the black. I mean, it's gray handle. Right part of it here is a locking handle. It flips down and puts tension on the blade going up there. Above my left ear. Yeah. So, your watering cans. Make sure you test your watering cans out. Make sure your watering cans are going. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, this. Oh, I see this one right here. This thing right here. Trying to think of the name of it. My mom had one, and she used it for. She used this thing here because it's basically like a cone, and she'd stick it in there for planting certain stringy seedlings in there. And I'm not sure what it's called. I'm not even sure where she got it at, because she had it from the time I was a little kid. So you're talking from back in the 60s. And so it wasn't actually a true cone. It was kind of a cone, but it had a little ridge down the side. So you could put it in, and it would move the dirt around as you twisted it a little bit. And you bulbs, you use it for planting certain bulbs and stuff like that, onions especially. Yeah, Jay, you could use that to work on driving it through a Knights in Armor. Yeah, probably. I'm not sure where the one my mom came from. But hey, that was in California, so maybe in something there. Yeah, Ginger got it. It's a whole poker thingamabob. Yes, so it's good for self-defense or gardening, and if you get caught with it, it's a gardening tool. All right. I think I've covered just about every type of tool on there. Your pruning shears, your small hand shears, your lopping shears for hedges. These other type shears over here. Make sure the spring on them, the spring mechanism on them needs to have some 3-in-1 oil put in it. Not only at the beginning, but several times during the year. My grandmother's rose ones, which she passed on to my mom, which she passed on to my wife. Those things are from 1954. I think, or maybe a little bit older than that. I think it's older than 54, because that's when my older brother was born. And so, yeah, it's been in the family, for, over 65 years. So the pruning saw, the folding pruning saw, wood handles on those 99% of the time. Make sure the handle is not only on the outside, you put the linseed oil on, but in the notch in the middle where the blade folds down into, use a Q-tip and rub some linseed oil down in there. This is another one that you need to, when you're done using it on pruning something, like if you're pruning a branch off of a peach or an apricot tree that has some disease on it, you need to clean that blade before you fold it up. Yeah, machetes too. All right, so I think I've covered just about everything, gave everybody ideas of stuff to do. Make sure everything's working good. And don't just think you get oil and do these things at the beginning of spring and at the end of fall. During the year, as you're using stuff, oil it up. If you have to sharpen a hoe or a shovel, oil it up before you start using it after you sharpen it. Yes, there are special files for sharpening the saw blades. Oh, chainsaws. Not very often you have to use a chainsaw in the garden, but if you're on having to take down a tree that is diseased and dying and stuff, once you're done using that chain on the for that taking down that tree, clean up your chainsaw really well. Take the bar off, take the chain off, put the chain in a like a big metal pan or whatever. Pour some rubbing alcohol on it, let it sit. Once it's done, drained and cleaned off, soak it in some oil. Make sure the oil gets back into all the moving parts on the chainsaw before you put it back on the chainsaw. Clean the bar down. You want to make sure you get any diseased wood off that chainsaw. So, yeah, because you don't want to be transferring diseased sawdust, still on the chainsaw into a not quite so diseased tree or whatever. So, all right, we're kind of hitting the end of it here. And let me bring this up here so I know what's going on next. All right, yeah, so I think I'm going to wrap it up here. But I am going to say something about something that happened several weeks ago, so everybody's on board with what happened. There have been several complaints made about how the situation was handled on one of my live streams when Steve came in. All right, so the gentleman I have up there had up there with me, Ray from Fat Man Prepper, kept on trying to take the talk into the lines of gangs and stuff. And he was giving out some what we considered false information. And I kept on trying to steer him back away from gangs. I wasn't want to talk about gangs. I want to talk about types of prepper groups, not gangs. And so he was not allowing me to guide the topic back on conversation back on topic with prepper groups. And Steve was getting ticked, and so were other people out in the side chat who contacted me afterwards that were thankful Steve came up there and put a stop to the guy. But yeah, so I was trying to be polite. Steve didn't have to be polite because it wasn't his channel. But it just, there are times when, I guess I got too good of a heart. I don't want to, put somebody down on the live stream about something. But so, so that's what happened. And so so that's why Steve kind of came up there because he could see I was struggling, and and basically that because that was the third time where Ray's gone off topic, and so that was the last time he was going to be on my live streams. But anyway, so coming up tomorrow night over on Gray Man Prepping, the topic is what to do without internet. So we're going to talk about what happens if the internet goes down and, oh, no, we no longer have YouTube. We no longer have Facebook. We no longer have, all the social media stuff. Hey, Joe, Garden State Gardeners in the house. So that's what the topic is tomorrow night. We're going to talk about internet, information on the internet, gathering up stuff you can do now to help you out later on once the internet goes down. And in case I forget about it tomorrow night, one of the things I want to talk to you about is called the Wayback Machine. Yes, the Wayback Machine. And it has to do with the internet, and we'll talk about that tomorrow night. And I want to thank everybody for coming in here. Thank everybody for the yeah, Tim, we gotta go back to those paper things, and just read stuff out of the paper things. So, yeah, Rachel, that's what other people said afterwards too. So, all right, I want to thank everyone for coming in here, participating in the side chat, giving me information, sharing information, asking questions. And so, as always, everyone, stay happy no matter what life throws at you. Stay safe. Don't go out and do anything foolish. Don't get into trouble. Keep on adding to your preps. Water, food, medicines, skills, seeds for the gardening, tools for gardening, all the other fun stuff. And Bob is here from the Philippines. Woohoo! Bob is, what time is it, Bob, over there? I mean, it should be early morning for you. And Jay, you are partially correct on that. The Wayback Machine we're going to talk about was named after Mr. Peabody's Wayback Machine. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow night about internet. But so everyone, and if you can expand your garden. Yeah, so it's morning time over there for Bob. And so he's up bright and early, and probably one of his nieces is going to fix some breakfast again, like yesterday. And so, so if you can expand your garden, if you're stuck indoors, you can see what I'm doing with my indoor garden experiment, trying to grow stuff year-round indoors. So, everyone, stay happy, stay safe, and we will see you in the next tomorrow night.